Good morning. Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Joel Ibanez, and I am your worship associate today. I am joined by Wendy Karn, our Intern Minister, Jacob Swetland, our Director of Music Ministries, and Karen Magoon Pearson, who is our Director of Religious Education for Children and Youth, in welcoming you here this morning. Reverend Sean, our lead minister, is not in today, but will be back in next week. We also would like to recognize the many volunteers who have helped to put this service together today. We respectfully recognize that our church property rests on Ahachimin and Tongva land. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We are bound together not by a common set of rules or beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is simply a promise that whatever our beliefs, we accept one another and encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships, and we are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. To our Roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones, and for our Zoomers, we invite you to say hello in the chat. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you'll find it here. Later in the service, we will have an opportunity for you to introduce yourself if you'd like to do so. And we begin our worship with the lighting of our chalice. And this morning, I'd like to invite Pat Larkin up here to light our chalice. Yay. Pat has been a member of our church for a couple years now, and is very into reading, travel, world history, classical music, and the UU Church. Well, you can go ahead and come on up if you like and say with us the actual reading. We can go ahead and read. Let our worship, that's all right. Let our worship begin with the lighting of our chalice as we say our unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together. Thank you, Pat.
Let us rise. Oh, let me make sure my mic is on. Let us rise in body and spirit and sing our opening song.
Listen more often to things and to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath
In the deep fall, don't you imagine the leaves think how comfortable it would be to touch the earth instead of the nothingness of air and the endless freshets of wind? And don't you think the trees themselves, especially with those mossy, warm caves, begin to think of the birds that will come, 6, a dozen, to sleep inside their bodies? And don't you hear the goldenrod whispering, "Goodbye, the everlasting being, crowned with the first trumpets of snow"? The pond vanishes, and the white field over which the fox runs so quickly brings out its blue shadows, and the wind pumps its bellows. And at evening, especially, the piled firewood shifts a little, longing to be on its way.
I remember days of sunshine, days of rain. I remember knowing spring will come again.
And when I sing, I remember all the wonder I have seen. Waters reaching the horizon, waves that carry you and me.
I remember this, my friend. I remember golden summers when corn is high. I remember branches reaching to the sky. And when I sing, I remember all the harvest of the field, fruits of love that lie in waiting, all the bounty now revealed. I remember this, my friend.
In my song there's a whisper of a wild green meadow. The sun shines so bright in my eyes. In my song there's a day by the pool of the water, knowing that you're by my side. Knowing that you're by my side
I remember all the loved ones I have known. I remember all they've taught me, how I've grown. When I sing, I remember many lives that share my song, brought together in a moment, finding somewhere to belong. And I remember you.
So, who here enjoys carving pumpkins? Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. The seeds are all squishy and you're digging in the guts and wondering, whose idea was this? Whose idea was it? My husband had the joy of carving our chalice pumpkin today. So here's a story about the tradition of how pumpkins came into being. And it's a little bit of a ghost story, but it's not too scary. A long time ago, there was a woman named Agatha and her daughter Effie, and they were on their way to their neighbor's farm to trade vegetables from the great bounty of their harvest. And they lived up way, way on the tippy-top island next to Scotland called the Hebrides. So that's about right, Effie, she said as they were collecting the vegetables. Effie, we have to save room for the turnips. This farm grows the best and the biggest turnips in the village. Blah, said Effie. I don't think I like turnips. Is that so? Asked Agatha. As they started their walk back, her mother pointed out to the bogs way off in the distance. They were a beautiful sight, going out as far as she could see. The sun was just starting to set, and the sky was full of color, with just a few clouds casting their shadows over the vast countrysides. Effie, have you seen little lights out over the bogs early in the morning? You know, before the sun comes up, when you're out helping us feed the sheeps and do the work outside? Have you seen any of those? Little lights. I don't think so, said Effie. Effie was stunned. How could she miss something so exciting? Well, they only come out at this time of year, at the very end of October, her mother said, so I'm not too surprised. Well, what are they, Mama? Will I see some tonight, maybe? Oh, perhaps so, said her mother. We'll be prepared just in case we do see them. Prepared, said Effie. Yes, my dear. These little lights are called the will-o'-the-wisp. Some folks think there are fairies, and some folks think they might be ghosts. Oh, I think I don't like ghosts even more than I don't like turnips, Mama. But I love fairies. I hope they're fairies. They're so pretty. But ghosts, they're real scary. I hope there aren't ghosts, said Effie, looking back to the bogs. Yes, my dear. Fairies are very pretty, and they can be nice, but at this time of year, even the fairies are known to play a few tricks. So we need to be mindful of that. And also, just for the record, not all ghosts are scary or cruel either, Effie. But we have to be careful, she said. And they arrived back home. Agatha and Effie placed their baskets down on the table near a pile of other delicious things they had begun together for the oncoming winter. They were both very hungry after their walk, so they ate, and Elizabeth called her daughter over, and they started on a project of carving out the turnips. Carving out the turnips, can you imagine? They look like this. That's what the turnips looked like that they were carving. And as they did that, she had a few more things to say about the will-o'-the-wisps. Like I was saying, Effie, whatever the wisps are, fairy folk or ghosts or something else, we need to make sure if any of them noticed us while walking back, we'd be safe from whatever tricks they might be up to. You see, if we make the lanterns and drop a wee piece of coal inside of them, they won't come into our house. They won't come anywhere near us because what they think is one of their friends has been captured and put inside of the turnip, and they don't want to be captured, so they will stay far away from us if they see these lanterns sitting outside of our house, and we'll be safe. You know, said Effie, I think maybe I do like turnips after all. Agatha and Effie placed their lanterns outside the door and gazed out the small kitchen window, looking for lights across the bog, and it wasn't very long before they saw some off in the distance. When they were satisfied, they wouldn't come too close. They had some treats before bed and slept with no fear of what may be outside in the dark. Now, we don't live around bogs. We do have some wetlands and some other places that might, spot a will-o'-the-wisp every now and again. But those of us who carve pumpkins are safe. And I invite the children to go and youth to go back out to their service, but not without Karen standing next to our chalice. Do you guys see it? Yeah. Ripples of love, I know not where you are, whether your soul is traveling the universal highway, or, as I imagine, sitting at the left hand of God, being consulted about matters of consequence, or maybe reincarnated as the 1%, or as a dog. But even if it has been dissipated within the end of your body, you live. You live in me and in others through our memories of you, through our actions in the world, the love you shared during your life, love that created ripples whose impact will be felt for eternity by those near and far. Let us live a life that creates ripples of love. These ripples of love we create as we walk through the world make a wider circle whenever we begin relationships with each other. I suppose we're projecting some form of influence of whoever loved us into being, whether we're conscious of it or not. When someone close to us dies, we may have a funeral or a scattering of ashes or a celebration of life. These ceremonies are an important part of processing our grief and our sadness and our loneliness. They're also important to celebrate the ripples of love they created while they were here. We share stories about how they cared for us or made us laugh or helped us through a really rough time. Grief is very complicated, though, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. I don't really think we get to decide. It kind of decides for us, grief. And it doesn't end after a memorial, and maybe it's just a natural part of our humanity to designate another time for remembrance. Another time like this, when our natural world begins to shut down for winter. This time of reflection is a gift. The pagan holiday of Samhain is a Gaelic holiday with pagan origins, celebrated over October 31st and November 1st. These ancient customs live on with us in our Halloween traditions here in America. And as we heard in our Time for All Ages story, pumpkin carving was brought to the New World by our Irish and Scottish immigrant families. The customs of trick-or-treating also has its roots here. Even dressing up came from what's called guising, as people would go house to house in a way that sounds more like a progressive dinner. And that's what it used to be. But now it's kind of a progressive dinner of chocolate. This time of year, between the fall equinox and the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, had other traditions of bonfires, offerings to the gods that were made in hopes that they would help them make it through the tough winter months. This liminal time lends itself to reflection. The work of the harvest has concluded, and the work of preparing has not quite yet begun. The dead are also remembered, honored in this sacred pause. The season itself lends itself to this. Leaves are falling, departing from the tree before they make their way back to earth as soil, as nourishment. Ancient beliefs from all over the world believe that this is a veil, that between this world and the spirit world, at this time, this is the time when they are closest to each other. They're closer to each other, and it makes it easier for us to cross over to those spaces. Samhain is not the only tradition commemorating our ancestors at this time that acknowledges the thin veil between us and the spirit realm. Throughout Mexico and parts of Central America and South America, Dia de los Muertos is celebrated on November 1st. The making of decorative altars, honoring the beloved dead, and exchanging sweets like sugar skulls or bread shaped like bones remind us of our own fragility. It is a lighthearted reminder of the ephemeral nature of our existence. It's through this celebration honoring beloved ancestors that trace back that they honor their dead at this time. And this origin is thought to be as far back as the indigenous people of pre-Columbian Mexico, although these traditions were also heavily influenced by colonialism as the Spanish brought their traditions of All Souls Day to the continent. So all of these holidays and remembrance celebrations have kind of woven themselves together in this time. All Souls Day, remembering the souls of the faithfully departed, is the tradition that is most closely linked to our Unitarian Universalist heritage. While its origins came out of an Orthodox Christian tradition, it is still honored in the Catholic Church and has remained part of the Protestant traditions even after the Reformation. Most Christian traditions celebrate this holiday on November 2nd, and practice varies quite a bit among denominations, but it's a common custom to visit and decorate the graves of loved ones. In the Anglican Church and other European Christian denominations, it had a more visible resurgence in the early 1900s, memorializing millions of souls claimed in World War I. So it's easy for me to fall into this tradition of remembrance. My mother, Margaret, died in 2021, but her birthday was on October 30th for 92 years. She taught me so many things. She taught me to vote in every election, no matter what. She taught me to be frugal, but never to skimp on footwear. It's ultimately, right? It's ultimately a much better investment to buy one good pair of shoes than several inexpensive shoes that don't last very long. And I think she knew early on that I am hard on my footwear. So thanks, Mom. I have several pair of shoes, and none of them were cheap, but they're all lasting forever. These are good lessons. Maybe the most important thing she showed me was not something she did on purpose, though. My parents divorced when I was 5, and although my dad visited us when he could, he passed when I was just starting high school. So that was a long time to be raised by one person. And what she showed me was that I didn't necessarily have to get married. You could run a household and live a life without that. Although today is my 6th wedding anniversary. And thank you. I was married in the UU church, and I married Patrick because I love him, and not like I felt like I had to build my life. And at our wedding, we had our guests sing happy birthday to her as she got her own cake, chocolate, of course, because for her, there was no other kind. She was a big part of my life, but I think this year I'll remember all the ways that she taught me to go out and leave my mark in this world. So I invite us to take a few deep breaths and soften our gaze in the spirit of prayer or meditation or reflection. At this darkening time of the year, our thoughts turn to things past, to life retreating, to those who are no longer with us. Images come to mind of our dear companions who once graced our lives, loved ones whom we miss, persons who made an impact on our lives, of all of those who were here contributing, caring, and loving, and now are gone. Our memories bring both joy and sadness. Let us not push these feelings away, for these recollections attest to the enduring importance of these friends, this love, our memories. May these brave and lovely spirits live again in our tender thoughts and prove that death and distance are powerless to sever the bonds that connect truly loving hearts. I invite you to join together in a time of silence to remember some wisdom passed on to you from someone who is no longer with us, but is still absolutely with us. As we start to come back from our own reflections, I invite you to take a moment to write a word or two about something that lives on in you. A gift you would like to share from someone that in some way loved you into the person that you are now. If you didn't get a slip of paper on the way in, your ushers have those for you. And it doesn't need to be long. It can be very, very short, just a couple of words. But I will share them with the congregation so that all of us get to remember. And Zoomers, if you would like to impart some wisdom, I welcome you now to put that in the chat, and I will read those along too. So if you've finished, please feel free to share with someone close to you quietly while everyone finishes, and take a few more minutes to get those collected. And I will also add, if you brought a picture today and would like to add it to the altar, if you didn't get it up before, you're welcome to bring it up now, and they can join the very beautiful company of the people on the altar. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. This is so much wisdom. we're going to walk away from today with a lot of gifts. So I'll start out with this one. This is from Laura, and her words of wisdom were from her mother, and I love this. You always have alternatives. This is in remembrance of Dickie Rowan, Brianna, her child's great-grandmother. She says, the words we say make a bigger impact than we realize. Be careful. Wow. Kathy would like to recognize her mother's wisdom. Today is her birthday. Oh my gosh, that's really close to my mother's birthday. She gave me the gift of helping me raise my 2 daughters. Sarah C. Would like to remember some words of her grandparents. Cooking and arts and sewing were the gifts. Adam would like to share remembrances of Jacqueline. She visited OCUC and saw options she was unaware of before she appreciated it. Karen would like to share words from her brother. Always be kind and treat each other with respect. Marilyn would like to share something from her husband, Bill. Do your best every day. Gail's mom says, have a positive attitude. Dana's mother, Mary, has some offerings for us. Oh, yeah, a place for everything and everything in its place. Maria would like to remember John, her brother, saying, have a good day every day. Elizabeth would like to remember Patricia, her maternal grandmother. Always have a Tic Tac handy. Oh. Kathleen would like to remember her partner, Mark. He says, why can't we all just get along? Marcia would like to remember her mother saying, don't always try to be so independent. Accept help from others when they offer. It makes them feel good too. It's a good one. They're all good. Dale would like to remember some words of his father. Always follow your dreams. Paula would like to recognize some words from her mother. Go to college. Do not depend on a man. Pardon me if I mispronounce this name. Mifanwe. Oh, okay. So sorry. Would like to remember the words of her mother and father. Always keep goodness in your heart and always help others before yourself. Tom L. would like to remember the words of her mom and dad. Make us proud. Or she was also going to say, clean your room. Judith would like to remember her dad's words. Your job as a manager is to train your own replacements. Pat would like to remember her cousin. Enjoy life, and when in doubt, go fishing. Simone would like to remember her uncle's words. It was my life. Lori would like to remember her husband's words, family first. Marilyn is sharing this from her husband, care about others. Raymond is remembering words from his grandfather, in work, one can master the management of machinery and equipment, but people are not the same at all. Oh. Gabrielle would like to remember words from her parents, Norma and Amelia Martin. They had a lot of words, unspoken. Amy would like to remember Susan, her neighbor, strong, confident, warm, generous, her smile, her hugs, her treats, and expresses her love and joy all the time. She was so smart and brave. Craig would like to remember Mildred, his grandmother, love fearlessly. B wants to share her grandfather's words. To overcome adverse condition, you must be resilience and creativity. Nancy would like to recall words from her mother, love your family. Oh, and today would have been her 112th birthday. Barbara would like to recall her mother and father's words of strength and persistence. And those are good things. Alejandro would like to remember his mother, his grandmother, and his aunt. Their wisdom was the love that lives in me now. Lori would like to recognize her parents' words. You'll find out. Jolynn shares from her father, you can be anything, but if you are running late, don't speed. It's better to be late than be dead. Tracy recalls these thoughts and wisdoms from her father. Remember love and curiosity. Barbara would like to remember her parents. Her dad said of her active sons, that's a sign of intelligence. And her mother had a favorite song, It's a Lovely Day Today, which was pretty much her entire approach to life. Sherry is recalling the words of her father, no words, just a lived life of honesty and compassion. Francie would like to remember Joel, her son. He always ended his phone calls with the word peace. Dolly would like to remember her son Albert. One or two wisdoms, he said, you go, Mom. Encouragement is always really valuable. Sarah would like to remember her grandson, and from him she learned a heart cannot be destroyed. From Sarah, her mother passed down, being a mom is the best thing you can be. Peggy would like to remember her mother. Lived by her action of others, curiosity about the world and people, an openness and a quest to learn. And Meg is sharing words from her dad. Maggie, always leave something to the imagination. He told this to me when I wanted a bikini swimsuit for our annual vacation at the beach. Don is sharing words from his maternal grandfather. It's better to be silent than thought a fool to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Sandy would like to remember her minister friend and boss who shared with her the transforming power of love. And Reverend Judy sharing wisdom from her brother. Enjoy life and do some good. And Nate would like to share from his grandmother, a drip and a drip together make a splash. Oh. Thank you so much for sharing those amazing, amazing gifts. Spirit of life, whom we know best in our own loving and being loved, hold us as we remember those who we have loved and those who have loved us. May gratitude sparkle in our lives. May tears lubricate our souls. Help us to know that we are not alone in grieving, and help us also to come to that peaceful place in which we can take what we learn from those who have gone before us in our own lives. Remind us that we too are mortal, and that only enduring legacy we live, and that we leave is the love that shines through our lives. Many blessings to you all. For our closing words today, I'm going to do a refrain. Ripples of love, I know not where you are, whether your soul is traveling the universal highway, or as I imagine, sitting at the left hand of God being consulted about the matters of consequence, or maybe reincarnated as the 1%, or as a dog. But even if it has been dissipated with the end of your body, you live. You live in me, you live in others, you live in us, through our memories of you, through your actions in the world, through the love you shared during your life, love that created ripples whose impact will be felt for eternity by those near and far. Let us all lead a life that creates ripples of love.
Let us rise in body and spirit and sing our closing song.
Let this be a house of peace, of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for question and our inspiration. Let this be a house of Let this be a house of peace, be a house of freedom, guardian of dignity and worth held deep inside us. Let this be our house, a platform for the free voice, where all our sacred differences here shall not divide us. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let all in this house seek truth, where scientists and mystics abide in reverence here. Let this be our house, a house of art creation, where works of art and melodies consecrate the atmosphere. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of prophecy. May vision for our children be our common theme. Let this be our house of myth and lore and legend, our trove of ancient story and cradle of our tender dreams. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
I wanted to share some further thoughts from our Zoomers. Kindness and empathy from my grandmother. Never miss an opportunity to rest your feet. Happiness comes from doing what you love. To live with joy. The importance of love and laughter, not through direct advice, but by the way he lived. Oma showed me how to be fearless in doing what you know to be right. There's always joy to be found. Live in the here and now, and the importance of an open mind. And from Bob Melville, whatever you can do. Do cubed philosophy.
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing one half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. And this month, we are sharing with Ray Elementary School, a local elementary school here in Costa Mesa that is 98% minority and also focuses on science, technology, engineering, and math. And next month, they're going to be doing a robotics fair that OCUUC will be helping out with. So we definitely appreciate your contributions, any contributions that you can make to support Ray Elementary. There are multiple ways in which you can support this church and this organization. You can mail a check, you can go through our website, or use an app called Vanco Mobile. If you're a roomer, you can also simply use the basket as it is passed. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. As always, thank you for your generosity.
It's on. Okay, yippee. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me. Don't let it make you cry, for even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me, each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me. Remember me. Though I have to say goodbye. Remember me. Don't let it make you cry, for even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me, each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Remember me.
So hi, everyone. This is my father, by the way, kind of in ghost form. This is me very upset at having my picture taken with my father. So at any rate, I'm here to give you a little bit of a capital campaign testimonial, because we are this close to raising the money to build our new sanctuary. I can smell it, I can taste it, I can feel it. And we've been waiting for so long, and it's almost here. It was about 6 years ago that we started this, and we're almost ready to go. And then that pandemic hit, and we have more delays. And in January, as you know, we needed to get a new bid, and we had, due to supply issues post-pandemic, we had to come up with a lot more. It was $700K more, like, ouch. So we decided to wait until now to move forward, almost another year. Oh, yeah, but no one wants to give up. I have heard nobody say, I don't know. Nope, everybody is in on us. So 5 families, those are the sanctuary committee members who are so dedicated for years of moving this forward. Imagine how many meetings they've had to have, okay? And then maybe you can feel in your heart some gratitude for what they've been doing for like basically 6 years. They have pledged over half of that 700K. They have pledged 370K just themselves, those 5 families. And they're asking the rest of the congregation to please make up the rest of that, the 320K that's left, to show that they aren't alone and that the rest of us want it too. Okay, so let's do this. And I want to send out a big thank you to the 31 households who have pledged for the 3rd time. Yes, we know it's the 3rd time, but it's also been 5 to 6 years since we started this. And this is, they actually did an average of less than $5,000 for those 31 people. So, but there are over 2/3 of the congregation have not yet pledged for the remaining 180K. 180K people, we're so close. If we can average the same amount, we will blow it out of the water. But we've totally got this. We're so close. So whether you can pledge like just $50, we have a few people who have pledged $50. You can pledge 500 or 5,000 or 50K or hey, 500K. I mean, one household has pledged 300K so far. So let's get this done. Now, if you're like me, you might be thinking, oh dang, I keep forgetting to do this. Because like I totally get that. So there's 2 tips I can give you. One is first, just make a commitment right now that the very first thing you do when you walk out of the sanctuary is head over to the desk that's going to be headed by Nancy, our president. She's also one of the 5 that will have her nifty chart showing where we are at the Capitol campaign and make a pledge. Just like, okay, I'm not going to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to get coffee. I'm not going to talk to that person over there that I really want to talk to. First thing I'm going to do is go talk to Nancy. The second thing you do if you're a Zoomer in particular is you can make a commitment that right after the service, you're going to go to the website, you click on support and then giving, and you'll see right there in front of you either the email for bursar@ocuc.org, where you can just email them what your pledge is, or you can click on the donate button and go to then Sanctuary Campaign. So all you need to do is do that and make your pledge, and everybody will be so happy. So now if you're one of those people who think, oh, but shoot, I need to talk to my financial advisor or my spouse or some other entity, totally get that. So here's what you do. You put a alarm on your phone to remind you at a time when you know you're going to be at home. You can make the phone call or you can be on the website. So go ahead, put it on there right now. Do it. All right. Now we know that not everyone can pledge a lot. No one wants you to give up your retirement or put yourself in any sort of financial straits or anything like that. So for example, I've got a lot of expenses coming, particularly since I know I'm going to have a tooth or maybe 2 implanted up here. And I'm not willing to put my health issues or be in pain on the line, but I am willing to put off my trip to Scotland for a year in order to make my pledge. And you know how much I love Scotland. So this sanctuary means that much to me, and I hope it does to you too. So won't you join me in helping this congregation build a sanctuary for our future, for us, the next generation? Please help in any way you can. And I love you all, no matter what. So thank you for your generosity.
Please join us in singing We Gather Together, a song that puts our intentions into words and expresses our gratitude for the many gifts that we share.
Now is the time when we honor the important events in our lives. You are invited, one and all, whether you are a member, a friend, or a visitor, to participate in our weekly ritual of joys and sorrows. I'd like to invite... Oh, there she is. Oh, Lori? Yeah. Yes. Oh, I thought I saw a hand up. I'd like to invite Lori to join us. She is one of our pastoral care associates. Let's take a deep breath. Perhaps you come here today holding something close to your heart, moments that last days or hours or have struck you to the core. If you'd like to honor such a profound sorrow or joy, you're invited to do so. And if you're a roomer, you're invited to share that in the chat with us. And we'll get that out too. And once the roomers are done, we'll start with the lighting of candles. So as the music is played, I invite you to silently offer healing. But first, we'll collect those reflections. Okay, we have a lot of joy and sorrow today. A joy from Craig. Tatiana, he would like to thank Tatiana for helping arrange my mother, Kay, to host a young Ukrainian couple for the next 13 days. Wow. Jolynn is happy to host an auction event today At the 21 songs we chose to freely perform, Wish for a Miracle. That sounds exciting, Jolene. Oh, I'm sorry. She's petrified. Everybody turn around and give her some courage. Woo! And Meg would like to share the joy that for the delicious and fun auction dinner of soup and salad and presents of beautiful hand-thrown bowls by Catherine and Derek Martin. The Luo Smith family would like to say a joy. B and Clay's son, Cheston, is 100 days old as of yesterday. And from Adam, tomorrow is the birthday of my friend, neighbor, and UN official kid, or unofficial kid, UN official kids, I don't know what those are, his unofficial kid, sister, Sarah, Carl, John. She will be all of 32. Happy birthday. And from Francie C., flowers today in celebration of my 81st birthday on Monday, October 30th. Woo! And Alejandro would like to share that he's celebrating his 32nd birthday last Wednesday with a home-cooked meal with friends. Pat is sharing a sorrow. Her cousin, Palika, who passed in late October while doing what she loved, on board his favorite fishing boat and bringing home that big one. Rest in peace, Palika. Sherry would like to recognize her dear colleagues, both Jewish and Arab, who are suffering so much. Tom L. shares his sister Susan and her daughter and grandson live a few miles from Lewiston, Maine. Along with his mother, they were in lockdown for several days following the shooting in Lewiston. And it was a scary time for them and everyone else in the area. Such a tragedy. It did not need to happen. Reverend Judy shares Michael L. My nephew, who is losing his battle with cancer, is now on hospice. Alejandro shares a dear friend who lost her father to sudden brain cancer. He was recently retired from the military at age 58, Sergeant First Class Timothy McCormick. And another sorrow to share with you for the passing of the Reverend Carolyn Owen Toll, the wife of Tom Owen Toll. She's been a favorite preacher here at OCUUC. Reverend Carolyn was part of an early but small and mighty cohort of women ordained in UU ministry and was one of the first women called to serve a large congregation. A memorial in San Diego will be held on December 4th at 3 p.m. at the San Diego UU Church if you would like to attend. And I'm going to share from the Zoomers. And Joelle, who's currently in the hospital for an emergency appendectomy that happened this week. He's doing really well, so keep your thoughts with him at this time. It's really scary.
Joel K?
Yes, Joel Kelly, yeah. And Valerie A. says she's celebrating her child Daniel's birthdays this week, so grateful to have them in my life. Liz M. shares gratitude for her mother's health. She has been cancer-free for a year and just this week received another clean bill of health from her annual scan. And Linda C. would like to light a candle of joy for our granddaughter Emily, who is married to the love of her life last Thursday. And just one last moment of care, holding in our hearts the people that are suffering from war all over this planet, and just hold space for that suffering in a moment of silent support. I invite you to send love and healing to all those joys and sorrows, both spoken and unspoken, that are present in our lives. And with that said, wishing you all a safe and happy holiday, no matter how you celebrate. And I did want to let you know that outside there is chocolate cake to share in honor of my mother's birthday, which is tomorrow, and the Halloween holiday, and everybody else who has a birthday tomorrow as well. We have some chocolate cake because that's the only kind there is. Oh, and Lori has a prayer.
You don't have the computer here?
Oh. Thank you so much.
In Betweenness by Michelle Lagrave. We, you and I, are in between right now. In between what was and what will be. In between what we were and who we will become. In between letting go and embracing. In between saying hello and saying goodbye. In betweenness is a thing. In betweenness is a time of fullness, a time of anticipation, a time of hope, a time of worry, a time of sadness. In betweenness is a time of waiting, waiting for news, waiting for departure, waiting for arrival, waiting for death, waiting for life. In betweenness is a time of transformation, a time of reflection, a time of action, a time of growing, a time of becoming. During this time of not knowing, let us enter into the silence together. Amen, and blessed be.
Okay, let us join together as we. Oh. We can extinguish the chalice of our flame and say together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Okay. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are a congregation made up of people who all believe differently, and yet when we gather together, we are in a room or on Zoom, we make one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. If you are a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become a part of this beloved community. We encourage you to either write in the chat if you're a Zoomer, or if you're a roomer, to stand for a brief moment and tell us your name and where you're from.
And I will bring you a microphone.
And yes, we do have a lovely assistant to pass around the microphone. Are there any newcomers? No? Anyone in the chat? Not that I'm aware of. All right. Okay. If you'd like to know more about our church, including programming for our youth and children, please contact us at hello@ocuuc.org, and we'll help you get connected. In addition, we invite you to sign up for our weekly email called The Blast at blast@ocuuc.org. We want everyone to feel a part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected. We do have a few announcements, I believe.
Our biggest announcement is not going to come from me. It's about the auction. Spoiler alert.
Okay, in a way, I'm glad we don't have a lot of newcomers here today because it makes it look like we're like the old days of the Crystal Cathedral, just asking, right? I'm sorry, but I gotta ask. It's auction time. We do it twice a year. We're kind of considering maybe doing it once a year if there's too much fatigue about having to come up with ideas every 6 months and it's wearing on you a little bit. But we did have people step up I was sending out blasts like crazy if you didn't catch them. We were short on items. Well, now we've caught up a little bit. We're still a little thin. I like to have about 40 items. We're over 30 now, so that's good. But it's quality, not necessarily quantity, and we do have some really killer dillers in there. So I advise you all to take a look at the online auction catalog. We don't have them to hand out to you today. I like to do that usually. I like to hand them out in person the week before so you can mark them up. But instead, we decided to just keep open the submissions for another week. So that means that if you still are percolating on an idea and you're like, well, it's too late now. No, it's not. You may input that item. May I suggest, though, since we are hosting an event ourselves, and usually I'm one of those people that puts things in at the last minute for others, get brave. Use the website. It's really easy. And that way all the questions are answered that I'm going to inevitably have to email you back and ask you. So we need your stuff. We especially need some items. And this year, Amy was kind enough to offer to be the guru of a table of all the goods, the way we used to do. So you may bring those goods. Anybody who has items that they're donating, please bring them in next Saturday, and we'll put them out, and everyone can look at them and have fun and ooh and ah over them, and then go home and bid them up like crazy online, because all those items will be online only. Does anybody here have any questions about auction? Okay, if you've ever been to auction, raise your hand. Ever. If you've ever been to an auction, raise your hand. All right, well, next Saturday, you're coming again. Those of you out there in Zoom land, I know you like to be Zoom for whatever reason. Come see us on Saturday. It'd be great. But if not, we do have the online option for you to bid on the items. So get familiar with that software. You may send us an email if you want to and ask us how to do that. And we have right here 50-50. You can win that even if you don't have the highest bid on anything. You could be the lucky winner of the 50-50. raffle. But you need to be here to win or have a proxy bidder to win. Okay, that's to get you there. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? We good? All right. Make sure you buy your tickets to dine with Miss Peggy, and or sign up to bring something to eat. Yay.
So that is the biggest announcement I have today, is that there is an auction next Saturday, November 4th, 3 p.m. I'll see you there. And yeah, that's pretty much the biggest thing that we have in our announcements this week. Check online for the regular meeting announcements, and we're going to wrap this up today. And I appreciate you sitting through kind of a extended piece today, but we are ready to move on out, and I'll see you out on the patio. Is here showing us their costumes.